Yeah, yeah, your boy Chris Lee. Shout out to Soul Lee. You on that Kickback podcast. It's our time. You with that Kickback podcast. Yeah. You on that Kickback podcast, the Kickback. You with that Kickback podcast, the Kickback. You on that Kickback podcast, the Kickback. You with that Kickback podcast, the Kickback. Now sit back and relax. Now sit back and kick back. Now sit back and relax. Now sit back and kick back. Now sit back and relax. Now sit back and kick back. Now sit back and relax. Now sit back.
5, 4, 3. All right, we're live. All right, folks, this is the Kickback Podcast. This is another special episode about conspiracy theories, part 2. It's your boy Chris Lee and your boy
Soul Lee.
We back at it. So if y'all watched our last podcast, y'all kind of like know where we heading with this, so kind of what page we on, so y'all won't be too like out of the loop. If you haven't already watched our last episode, please be sure to watch that because it's going to make a little bit sense tying into this. Spoiler warnings though, if you have not seen They Clone Tyrone, I recommend do not watch this video. There will be spoilers. If you don't care about spoilers, hey, well, listen away. But if you do, go watch it first, then come back and holler at us. All right, so let's get into it. So solely, man, we both watched They Clone Tyrone. I think our first outing and watching this was when we had our camp night party at my house, and yeah, that was pretty cool. But and I'm glad we had to rewatch it because there's a lot of scenes and a lot of details in that film that I didn't catch at first. Like, did you catch the opening scene when the guy, when the guy was talking about how they cloned Tupac? And how they said Tupac was working at the gas station.
Yeah.
I just thought they said they got Tupac. They got his walk, he had his talk, he had everything. But it's a lot of subtle hints in that movie. Oh, yeah. I think that movie is so much more important than a lot of people may possibly realize. So
I think it's way more important than this Barbie that just came out. To tell you that.
Yeah.
Barbie and the new Haunted Mansion.
Have you seen the Haunted Mansion? I haven't seen it.
I mean, I've seen the original with Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Made another one, but that's another topic for another podcast.
Yeah, the podcast. I mean, I'll watch it out of respect because sometimes with remakes they do all right, but Eddie Murphy, you can't duplicate that. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I think this movie is a very important film. So for people who have watched it, we go kind of start off here with the characters. Okay, so you have 3 main characters in the film. You have Yo-Yo, you have Slick Charles, and you have Fontaine. Now Fontaine is Tyrone. Fontaine is just like his last name or like his street name. And to give you a little bit of backdrop here, Slick Charles is a pimp. Okay, and Yo-Yo is his working girl. That's the proper term for him. I don't want to offend no one. And then Fontaine is a drug dealer. This is a interesting take on what's going on, and basically Slick Charles and Fontaine character pretty much kind of connect each other because Fontaine. Slick Charles owed Fontaine some money, and Fontaine went on a hunt to find him. And in the opening scene is a very important opening scene. I don't know if you remember that. Solely when him and the young boy went to go find out one of his ops who owed him money, or one of his ops on his territory. You remember that? And he go and hit him with the car. And I thought that was fascinating how it was just so subtle.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Every night, so I thought that was so subtle, but that plays an important part here, people, and kind of like the setup of what's going to go down. So, long story short, he runs into the guy, he hits the guy with the car, and then he kind of like, hey, I'm going to tell my boy, I'm going to tell my OG about you. Go ahead, tell him. And his OG ended up finding about him. Now, fast forward, you notice there's a sequence. Now, the sequence is a very important sequence that you have to pay attention to. The sequence is it shows him, it's almost like Groundhog Day. He wakes up, he go check on his mom. You never see his mom. His mom either already have eaten, he offers something to eat, or whatever it may be. And there's the main part of the sequence that I thought was very cool touch was when he's watching a commercial. You know that commercial is talking about the chicken, right? And the
Yep.
chicken is you're like, God damn, how good the chicken is. You got the black people in the commercial dancing and eating fried chicken and just really playing into the stereotype. But they did that intentionally,
Yeah.
Really gave me almost like a Jordan Peele, Quentin Tarantino type of a Boondocks type of a flow there. So what did you thought though when you seen like that chicken commercial? Like what do you think they was trying to entail or convey to the viewers?
Uh, that we, if there is some chicken around, then they got us hooked in.
Right.
For one, because
Right.
it brought me back to Undercover Brother, where they had put something in the chicken to get them. You remember Billy D. Williams? He played the officer, and he started selling chicken or something like that. He was gonna open up his chicken.
Yes, you talking about Undercover Brother, right?
Yeah, Undercover Brother. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they had him to he was against the chicken the whole time, but then he ended up like, yeah.
Right, but then he for his political platform, he started like promoting the chicken.
Yo,
You,
yeah. Eat fried chicken.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
butt kicking. Yeah.
Right, and
It-
I think it ties in a lot with us.
right.
If we're selling something, or if
Right.
they are selling something that they know we like, we're gonna be all in. And what else? If we got some good fried chicken, then hell, we locked in and then. So I think that was one of the things that they were putting out there. And it may be a reach, but I mean, come on, fried chicken.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was definitely something that if you noticed, I think anytime black people get the opportunity to make a film with their own creative rights, and not every time, but for the most part, as of recently, we have took that opportunity to warn the masses. We took the opportunity to kind of warn people of what's
Mhm.
going on. For example, we just talked about Undercover Brother as it being a comedy, but
Mhm.
it was definitely, if going back to watch it now with the mindsets we have now, even as a comedy, it was telling you about a lot of things.
Right, exactly.
And we as black people, we figured out a genius way on how to convey information, and we do it through comedy.
Mhm.
And when we do it through comedy, we do it in a way to where it plays into a stereotype to where the other folks look at it as if, oh, that's just them being them. But it's like us using like almost like Negro spirituals as a
Mhm.
little Morse code hints. And like we get what they're trying to do. Like if you watch like Boondocks, it's a animation, but you know what they try to convey on certain episodes and what they're trying to get through. It's just you have to kind of like have the ears and the eyes to peek it.
Right.
So with that being said, you had Undercover Brother, then you had Dynamite is his name, I think. No, not Dynamite's his name. I'm sorry. Dynamite, the one with Michael J. White, when he kind of played like Dynamite, and he ended up being like this kung fu master, retired vet, and he found out his brother is being in an undertaking of some sort of conspiracy with malt liquor and chicken, and they kind of go on this. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty cool. But they kind of played into that as well, the same preset with malt liquor, though. In that case, they would say malt liquor was used. It said King Cobra is what they called it in there, and how they use it to undermine the black man. So that's one film that kind of gave you that same. It's so interesting because all of them have almost like a exploitation era type of a delivery, like black films back in the 70s, they all took that same approach, which I think is fascinating too. I haven't unlocked that Morse code yet, but it's kind of all three of these films all talking about similar things and all took almost like the same period point to talk from the 70s.
Right. Yeah.
So anyhow, so with the chicken, I personally think the chicken was a warning to us because remember when Popeye's chicken came out with that chicken sandwich?
Yep.
and how everybody flocked to. I mean, I've never seen it like it in my 35 or 30 at that time, 32 years of living. I
Right.
have not came or seen anything like. I've seen people go like that over shoes, over phones, or whatever it may be. But chicken, you have people in line
Right.
fighting each other over chicken, like
Right.
fighting. Like this is not even a skit. That's real life fighting each other.
Real life, man. Real life.
And people was like just going nuts over the chicken. I thought that was a experiment, right? And it's and they already using that black woman with the southern accent, to kind of like as a stereotype anyhow.
Right.
So I just thought that was so crazy. And I ate the chicken too. I ate the chicken sandwich too, and it wasn't all that great. And I'm like, wow, that's man, why they hyping this up so much? But it's kind of like it's nodding towards things like that. And you notice how we flock to anything that's offering chicken sandwiches, offering anything related to chicken. And they in the film, they was being under hypnosis from eating the chicken. And that's showing you that they put stuff in our food. They put stuff in our food to kind of lower our immune system, to make us sicker. If they keep us sick, then obviously they can keep us doped up with medication. So that's kind of like how what the chicken was the homage to that. Like, be careful what you eat, watch what you eat. All right, so that's the commercial, and then we're gonna fast forward here. So what you got? What was something that kind of piqued your interest in that movie that you thought was kind of like interesting?
Some the one that made me be like, what's going on was when he saw himself.
Right.
After he got shot.
Right.
But he came out the store, gave the man, a sip of his beer,
Right.
And then he saw himself walking up the street.
Right.
And then the black SUV came and picked him up,
Right.
I was trying to figure out, okay, so they don't make a clone until you have died or whatever, supposedly. And I was like, so why did they? So how is he seeing himself? Because at that time he was the clone.
Yes.
He was the clone of the other Tyrone. I mean
right.
the other
The original Fontaine.
Yeah, Fontaine. Mm-hmm. So he was the clone, but he also saw another clone of his. No. He saw the previous clone that was shot.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, not unless and maybe I'm just going in too deep of it.
Nah, because I didn't even look at it that way. I remember that scene when he was standing outside of the convenience store and he saw the guy in a bloody shirt walking, and that's I thought about it, but I didn't really dive into it because that could have been him, because they didn't show a close frame of the character anyway, but he had the same demeanor as Fontaine had almost the same hair as Fontaine had, but the guys in the SUV so quickly swooped him up where you really couldn't make it out. So man, like, that's some next level Jordan Peele shit right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, man, that was the part. And the little boy that that would ride with him.
Right.
I thought that was like, I thought he was just like a little kid that was, just wanting to learn, how to do bad stuff. But at the end, I found out, okay, that was his little brother.
I think he cloned his little brother. Yeah.
So the original Fontaine, which was the old Fontaine at the end, cloned, I guess, his little brother. Because I think his little brother was actually older, but got shot, but got killed. But he cloned the little brother to be the actual little boy.
You know what? I thought about that too, because they kept showing the obituary on the refrigerator. They kept showing that. They kept showing that. And the little boy did play like he didn't have a huge role, but he was in there enough to like, okay, yeah, this is. And then Yeah, so I could imagine that, and almost like the older Fontaine had, and not to get too carried away, people. I want to make sure we kind of like iron this out so we're not bouncing all over the place. But so
Yeah.
basically, they created a simulation, which we're gonna touch on simulation as well too. Like I said, this movie is heavy with conspiracies, but they created a simulation where it kind of give the three main characters, Yo-Yo, Slick, Charles, and Fontaine, a comfort in their surroundings and not to question their surroundings, because it's just the regular a regular day in the Glen, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they clone, they kind of like almost like Sims. They kind of gave them their same little convenience stores, they give them their churches, they, everything this, so it won't be out of norm. Now I want y'all to pay close attention to this, to play close attention to this. So when they created this simulation, they created a simulation to emulate what everyday life in the Glen is, which is why in the
Mm-hmm.
film they cloned very important or influence people that had heavy influence in those in the hood. You have the pastor who have a huge influence, right? With religion, the church. And then you have the drug dealer who's obviously have a huge influence. You have the pimp who obviously have a huge influence. And then you have the working girl who also have a huge influence. But now I don't think they really clone her per se.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have these people who are as you would say, the pillars
Yeah.
in in that area, right? So you clone them because they keep the narrative going. They keep the sheep herd. They keep the sheep in line, right? So with that being said, I believe that Fontaine was in this sequence or in this simulation for so long, and things been going the same way. He didn't think to question it, because think about it. So we go kind of like pay homage to the opening scene here. So when Fontaine goes to the grocery store, okay, he goes to the not grocery store, but he goes to the convenience store and he get his malt liquor and he get his scratch off. He gets the same scratch off, right? Get the same liquor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you notice, every time he comes out, there's a different sequence of what he's scratching off. If you pay attention to that scene, so there's three dots there on the three scratch off parts on the ticket. So each sequence he's scratching off a different sequence, a different rotation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pay attention to that scene, okay, he's scratching off the one to the left, the next one scratching one to the right, and scratching because it could almost have like a pyramid shape with the three dots there. And each sequence he's scratching them off in a different rotation, which is kind of giving you a nod towards a simulation. When also every simulation have what you call is, I don't know the proper term from it, so I'm just gonna create one. But every simulation have what you call like point checkpoints or like guiding points in them homes.
Mm-hmm.
They all have checkpoints, and in these checkpoints they have these type of hold on one second. But yeah, they have different checkpoints where in the film where you have different people or different surroundings that kind of keep the characters not to question anything, right? As soon as you start questioning things, that's when you start to like, hold up, this ain't right. What's going on here? So the homeless guy, kind of like, if you notice, every sequence he's saying something a little different,
Yep. Sure is.
right? He's saying something a little different. He's saying, and then I remember in one scene he said something about, hey, there's something in the water,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when he said there was something in the water, he as a viewer, you don't think nothing of it. You like, okay, this just at the first time watching it, you're not gonna think nothing of it anyway. You just like, all right, this is just you overlooking it. But hold on
Yep.
1 second here. Hold on. Sorry, I had to adjust my mic there. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I had a little bit feedback in my ear, but so yeah, so you have um those type of placements. So when he says something in the water, and then you know Fontaine pours the liquor, which is also paying homage to assimilation, because in assimilation, people, you're doing the same routine. It's the
Yep.
same thing. It's slightly a little variation of it, but it's the same thing. It's a part, which is like almost like a Groundhog Day type of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, but when you're inside of a simulation, you don't know yourself. You're inside of a simulation because you're so used to this routine. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why Fontaine didn't realize, and think about him being inside of a simulation, because it's routine. And here's the thing. One thing about movies like this, where you have like a simulation, they give you almost like, how can I put this? They give you like ropes or strings to pull. For example, they say, hey, this is clearly a simulation for the viewers. This is clearly a simulation. So they kind of leave a nod out there for you. Because when he goes to his mom and he asks his mom, hey, did you eat? And then she like, yeah, I ate. And then she says she ate the fish fry, but he go in the kitchen, he sees he don't, he's like thinking, oh, we said the other day, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
then, but he didn't think none of it. Like for a moment, he almost stepped outside the simulation, but he did not. Okay, whatever. He just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And when he looked at the pizza box, you
yes,
know,
yes.
yep.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Exactly. So there's different little things, and that homeless guy really played a huge part of it, because when he came back for the second time, he said, "You got that brand new car smell there, brother," or something like that. And a lot of people like
Yep, he
probably is
sure
like, well,
did.
that's
Yep.
random, but the brand new car smell sense, hey, that's a brand new body. You're a brand new clone. All right.
Exactly. Exactly.
You see, so I mean, in that film, it really talks about cloning, really talks about things like different things like the food. But here's one thing I want to bring to you. Did you notice the underlying um delivery on water? How they emphasize water throughout this movie?
Yep. I was just about to bring that up, yo. I was just about to bring that up, especially with his boy when he was like
There
he
you
needed
go.
some water.
There you go. There you go. You want it. You want it, boy. Yes, yes, you are. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, they
Mm-hmm.
kept mentioning it because he kept saying, "Hey, we need to make H2O. We need to be hydrated. We need to be hydrated." And he kept saying it to the sense to where, at first it was like okay, but then he continued on the conversation as they head out the house for the viewers to
Mm-hmm.
be like, "Okay, that's that string we telling you about." It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like they're giving you like little checkpoints as like like training wheels in a sense for people that's not quite conspiracy theorists. They're
Yep.
like, hey, this is what this is nodding to here. Um, so they kept mentioning the water, which in real life, which is also is not really a conspiracy, but the water is laced with lead, and the water
Mm-hmm.
is laced with fluoride. Now, a lot of people say if you put enough fluoride in your body, enough lead in your body, that can play into a huge part of whatever propaganda they're trying to use against you. So now, a little side note here: there's this conspiracy which kind of piggybacks off water, where if when and I, again I'm not saying I wholeheartedly believe in it, but they're gonna quote unquote fake alien invasion, and they're gonna quote unquote fake a second coming of Christ, and they're gonna use like to abduct people. They're like, well, how will they get people to kind of like levitate into the sky, right? Well, with enough lead in your body, they can perhaps do that when the lead comes from the water that you drink, right? And if you drink enough water, right, and you pretty much intake enough lead, then it's almost like, think of it like um Wolverine with his bones be antimonium, right?
Uh-huh.
So you drink enough of that lead, then it pretty much rattles in your brain, and it cause kind of make you more susceptible to mind control.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they kind of kept mentioning water throughout the film, water throughout the film. But that's just neither here nor there. But I just want to kind of like throw that out there because there's a lot of them in there. So yeah, so I appreciate you catching that because boy, I'm like, yes, like I thought I was the only one, but yes, he kept mentioning H2O, kept mentioning water.
But
Um,
but another thing that I thought about with the water is,
uh-huh,
you know how well I know a lot of people be like they don't drink water,
right,
because of whatever reasons. But but
right,
how my man was like, yo, all you need is a little bit of water.
right,
And I'm like, how is just this little bit of water that he's talking about drinking is going to have any effect on his body? Like he's talking about getting just a little bit of water when you actually need a lot of water for your own body. I thought about that along with the other stuff about water
Mm-hmm.
that they do to us, especially water in certain neighborhoods, like you were talking about, with the lead and everything.
Like
But
Flint, Michigan.
yeah, just like Flint. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, man, it's a whole bunch of stuff that you could talk about with this.
Yeah, man. One thing I thought that was interesting too in this film was the church. The church scene was something that was to me was the most. It was a very well written sequence. I love that sequence there. Um,
Yeah.
so in the church, you have the pastor who's played by David Allen Greer, who had a phenomenal short on screen performance, which he always does. He's a very talented
Mm-hmm.
actor and comedian. He played this pastor, and one thing about being in church, it kind of gives you the same feeling of being in church, where he was like, pastors going to that run, right? He was like, it don't matter if your life
Mm-hmm.
is due. It don't matter if somebody got shot in front of the store.
Yep.
So, and he goes through this whole thing, and then as he's saying that, it's almost like he's like a snake charmer, right? So as
Mm-hmm.
he's saying it,
Mm-hmm.
the people starting to kind of like go under a hypnosis, right? And as he
Mm-hmm.
continue to say that, then here's the final punch where they start playing the music. Now, before they played the music, the camera pans off slightly to because remember they had the drink tray.
Yeah, the drink. Yeah, the
And they
great
had the
drink.
drink tray. Yeah, they had the drink tray. So they're like, okay, just in case you didn't catch it in this frame, here's another frame of it. And it says
Yeah.
grape drink. Now, is again, they put it in what we're drinking. So
Yeah.
grape drink, they know. Here's the thing: black people love chicken. Black
Mm-hmm.
people love malt liquor, which is that what Fontaine was drinking every sequence when he goes to the store, right? And black
Mm-hmm.
people love grape drink. Now, these are the things that they use. So when they pan to that scene when they said with the grape drink, and he start going on that run,
Yeah.
and he starts singing, and the music start playing. When we watched it at a camp party, at first I didn't catch it.
Uh-huh.
But when I played it back for the second time, I'm like, hold up. Now here's where the genius come in play. They take a church a setting, right? If they would have played any other song that's church related, any Ty Tribbett or Kirk
Uh-huh.
Franklin or any of those Fred Hammonds, if they'd have played any of those songs, it would have completely missed the mark.
Yeah.
Completely missed the mark. It would have fell flat. But they
Yeah.
said to the viewers, how will we get you to raise your antennas and to realize there's something wrong in this scene?
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
pastor is on par. He's on key. I mean, he seemed like he's what a pastor would be, right? The congregation is on par. They seem like they were supposed to be, right? The great drink, okay, yeah, that's great drink. Like we love great drink, right? But they threw a song in there that they knew that will get you to say, hold up, this ain't
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be here. The
Mm-hmm.
songs they started playing was whoever picked the song again was freaking genius. They picked one of the most iconic songs in hip hop history. Back That Ass Up by Juvenile.
Right.
Now, this song is iconic because it has the same level of freak and anything sexual, heavily sexual overtones, heavily um 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 imagery on women's sexual body parts throughout the whole music video. I mean, the whole thing is a staple for that type of gathering of freak, right? So they
Right.
play that in a church setting to where, and here's the thing, even if the viewers still missed it, they had Jamie Foxx, so that string I was telling you about, to highlight what was going on. He said, I haven't been to church in a while,
Mm-hmm.
but something ain't right here.
Yep.
So it's highlighting what's happening. So and then as you see the people in the church dancing, they kind of like it's almost like it's like the under hypnosis. He was like, then the viewer will be like, wow, this is what's happening. So it's showing you these are two things that are out of place. This ain't right. This ain't right. This is something ain't right about this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought that scene was a very important scene in that film because it's a very touchy subject because I am Christian, born Christian. And I love God, I love Christ, and
Mhm.
but they use a lot of the churches to manipulate a lot of black folk. Now, that's not saying that Christianity is not real. Yes, it's very much so. But you do have people who are in the pockets of those powers that be that use that to manipulate us and what they want it to be. So
Uh-huh.
that's kind of like another thing there as well. So, a lot of times when you go to church, you have pastors who say, I feel that somebody's going to get a paycheck on Friday. I've not paycheck. I feel somebody's going to come into some money. I feel somebody's about to come into some money, and people start shouting and falling out of seats and wigs flying off, but you don't realize his payday is Friday. So of course you can get paid Friday. I mean, he's just like we talked about before we recorded, probability statistics.
Yep.
Statistically speaking, proper probably and a probability somebody in the church will get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if I say that, am I wrong?
Right.
No. He said he'll come into some money. He didn't say how. So that's just a play on your mental. So I'll put that out there. So yeah, that's one thing I thought that was interesting. Anything else you got? What you got?
Um, how all of well, they pretty much put that out there in the movie. I'm talking about the white dudes with the afros and
Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, that was so funny. Yeah.
yeah, man. Um, let me see. It was so much. Tyrone.
Right.
Um, how he woke up after he had just been killed.
Right.
Um, at the end, then he
Right.
looks over. He looks over to the left and see red balloons or whatever. Like it was a shootout of
Right.
because he had on blue.
Right.
So he was either a crip or whatever, and he shot a blood, or they were it was some kind of gang war, and
Uh-huh.
it was the opposite. They got killed too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, before he made it, I guess, to his boy house or whatever, and
Uh-huh.
noticed that he was a clone. Also,
Mm.
you know, um, noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let me see. I don't know. It's just so much.
There's so much, right?
Yeah, man. Let me see what else. Um, I can't think of nothing that's right at the top of the head, man.
I got you.
Yeah, I can't think of nothing else, but I'm quite sure when I watch it again, probably like the seventh time, I'm gonna catch something else too.
Right. Yeah, because it's one of those films we have to dissect. One thing I did catch though was when he was basically saying, well, okay, so the music was a heavy catch for me.
Mm-hmm.
Was when he all right, so when they go in the church
Oh,
after the church scene played out,
yeah, yeah,
because the first scene plays where they go into the trap house after his ops who supposedly shot him. So this is the
right.
second sequence of that where he goes into the church and they go under the underground into a laboratory and they end up going deep in the cover. And they end up seeing the different little almost like a lab rats. So the different little cubicles have different black people in there and they experiment on them. And one thing I
Mm-hmm.
found was fascinating was when you had these two brothers in there and it was playing like almost like crunk music, almost like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, that type of a vibe music, and it was very very
Mm-hmm.
like violent, and they showed them fighting each other. Remember that scene?
Yeah,
When they
yeah,
showed
yeah.
them like just trying to tear each other heads off. And
Mm-hmm.
in that scene, it was like, and you wouldn't think nothing of it, but you showed like the white guys in the lab jackets behind scenes, and they kind of like playing with the knob, and then they change it to a more of a mellow, more of a positive vibe song. And when
Mm-hmm.
they change the song, they change the tune. They kind of wake
Mm-hmm.
out the hypnosis and look at each other like, "Hey, you okay?" Now they concerned about the other brother. You good? You straight? And they kind of like grabbing onto each other, like making sure they was fine, making sure they was okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's paying the homage to how music can put you under a hypnosis.
Yeah, and when they were riding in the car, and he was like, "Damn, why this
Yes.
always put me to sleep?" And
Yeah.
they all started yawning, and the only person that didn't yawn was your boy, my man, not Tyrone, but I
On
can't
Slick
remember.
Charles.
No, no,
You
no,
talking
no,
about
no.
Fontaine?
Fontaine.
Yeah.
He was the only one that didn't yawn.
No,
But
he
the
actually
other
did. He actually did.
he did?
Yes, he actually did. I was sitting on my second go round. So when they yawn, he slightly yawned too. And I'm like, hold up, that's crazy. But he
Oh,
did
okay,
slightly
okay.
yawn too. But yes,
Got you.
yes. But see, that's what I'm saying. Those little threads they leave, little
Mm-hmm.
breadcrumbs. I would say that that's a better term. Breadcrumbs they leave for the viewers, because when Jamie said that at first you didn't think none of it, but again, they kept highlighting that. But it did it in a subtle way to where it's not like overkill. He's like, yeah, man, I
Mm-hmm.
hate this song. Every time I hear this song, I get sleepy. Every time and he's kind of like painting you the picture. And as soon as he said that, he yawns. She yawns. Then Fontaine yawns. And
Yeah.
then you
And
go, okay.
but that I think that also, because Jamie is a great musician too,
Right.
and art. I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
saying because I've said this to you before myself. Like, damn, all the music sound the same.
Yes.
All
Yes, it
this music
does.
sound alike.
Yes.
Whether it's R&B or whether it's rap, it's all starting to sound. Not all of it, because I got respect for the other ones.
Oh,
Some
yeah. You
other
still got
ones,
some real artists out here that's still getting busy. So, yeah.
right? But it's a lot of music that's being made today that all sounds alike.
Is like, but see, that's part of the simulation.
Exactly,
You see what I'm
exactly.
saying? So that's what I'm saying. This movie is not by coincidence. So when they made that scene, so when they're in the club scene, so well, before I get too carried away, so when they go to the club scene, they kind of break, because these little laboratories have like little trap doors into different parts, into the cities or different parts into the neighborhoods, and they come out into a strip club, and then
Mm-hmm.
Yo-Yo character goes, of course, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people don't realize this, but one of the strongest hypnosis does take place in a strip club.
Yeah.
If you play music, a certain type of music, right, and you
Mm-hmm.
have the certain type of music playing while the stripper is dancing and while the stripper is there, it kind of is a 1-2 punch hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're being almost they think of the watch. Remember like little cartoons or the movies where they got the watch going back and forth and you kind of following the watch. Now you hypnotized. Well,
Yep.
think of some booty that's going in the sequence, and now you hypnotize, and the music's playing. The music is hip, and then you got the music, and you think about it. Sometimes if the music is playing in a low enough dB, for a lot of people don't know what that is, but it's a
Yep.
low enough frequency, it taps into your mental, it taps into your emotion. So if it taps
Yep.
into your emotion at the right peak, because this thing, you got to get loosened up. There's alcohol. The alcohol have to loosen you up to be hypnotized, because you're on your
Mm-hmm.
defenses where you're not under influence. So when you're under influence, now you susceptible to that. Now you get the booty swinging, that's hypnotized. Music playing, so now you're fully hypnosed.
Yep.
So just throwing that out there as well. People don't realize that, but that's very true. So which is why it pays homage to when Yo-Yo says, of course. So then
Right.
when when they go into the club, you see everybody dancing, and guess who you see as a DJ? Remember, they
Yeah.
leave breadcrumbs. It's a white guy who looked like he just got off of Wall Street and just went straight in there and started DJing. So
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing: they're not saying just white people just look out the norm. They pick somebody who clearly looks out of play, because white people be in the club just like we be. You know what I'm saying? They didn't pick nobody look like Eminem. They didn't pick nobody look like UGK, not UG, yeah, MGK. They didn't pick nobody look like them. They picked a guy who clearly look out of pocket, like he lives on a cul-de-sac, make the cook on the grill with open toe sandals and the best cook fucking robe on, whatever. So they took somebody who completely look out of place. And as he's playing it, he hear a guy in his ear say, "Hey, we got 3 bogeys coming out." What did he do? He said, "Hey, how do y'all like this music?" So he changed the music,
To
and
that slow. Yep.
that slow song go round and round and round,
Mm-hmm.
and then as they playing it, it slows down, and you see the people slowly starting to turn around in circles, and they
Yep.
all are like just kind of like just turn around in circles like a merry-go-round, and they turning around. And at first you caught it like, okay, that's just, but did you notice as they're walking through, different people are just starting to turn. This person just starting to turn. And you're like, wow, that's weird. That's kind of creepy. So then again, in case the viewers didn't really catch it, here's the other breadcrumb. Jamie Foxx character, Slick Charles, start to turn. So that's when Yo-Yo said, hey, they got you too. You're under hypnosis. So that's that
Mm-hmm.
breadcrumb they left for you. So, and the DJ like, how do you like that mind control music? Y'all like that? Well, you're gonna really love this. And he said, I need y'all to do one thing for me. And he sent them all chasing after Fontaine, Yo-Yo, and Slick Charles. So that sequence is very powerful because
Yeah.
when you in the club, you are hypnosed. You don't know this, and you may not think of this, but yes, you are. For example, don't believe me? You ever go to the club and you ever had a good time? You have a drunk night, wild night, but then when you come back, your friends telling you, "Ooh, girl, I wish you would have seen how you was acting. How I was acting, girl, you was acting crazy." And somebody record a video or show you a snip on Snapchat or something. Oh my God, why did y'all let me do that? You know, or you realize you're looking at your bank statement, you spend way too much money on shots and alcohol,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, but when the lights come on, right, when the club and then everything is over, I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about, people. When you're in the club long enough, you know you're in long enough when you do the last call, the last shot, the last alcohol call, and all this, and get you kind of like prepared to leave. What they do, they turn on the lights. The
Yeah.
lights are turned off for a reason because it helps you in hypnosis. Okay, you got alcohol, you got the music with the low frequency, you got the darkness, so it kind of is easier for you to be hypnosed, right? But when they cut the lights on, you snap out of that hypnosis. Now you're looking, oh, sure. What time is it? How long I've been in here?
Yep.
So that's one secret with the music. I just wanted to kind of play that out because people, you really have to understand this music is very powerful in hypnosis. Just like what Mr. Soli was saying about everything sounds the same. If you think about it, this music they got this thing now where all these female artists are all talking the same. They booty hole brown, they booty hole brown. Everybody got the best snatch, and everybody got the rap and all this good stuff. And then all these these rap artists now, everybody making op music, everybody's ops, everybody. So it's a hypnosis. If they make this, they're not targeting us because they know we're well beyond that point. They're targeting the younger generation because they're more easier to be hypnosed, right? So you create these people who go out there and duplicate what these artists saying to do, and these artists themselves ain't doing it. Cardi B got a whole husband and kids, got a whole family, these people got families and cul-de-sacs they go home to. And here you
Right.
are here acting ratchet and acting fool, and because they promoting this, and they're not themselves doing that. It's part of the hypnosis. So I just thought it out there as well. But yeah, man.
True.
So that's the clone Tyrone. Obviously, we kind of touch on a lot of good points. We don't want to dwell on this too long, but I want to mention lastly the obvious elephant in the room, the clone. When we talked about in the last episode how we thought Jamie Foxx was perhaps um, um, allegedly cloned. Now this is before the whole picture came out with the comparison of Jamie Foxx. This is way before that. Please check the timeline here, people. We was on it first. But it showed Jamie Foxx looking slightly different. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, he's sick. When you're sick, you look a little different. That's very true. When you've been in the hospital long enough and you're not getting enough in that malnutrition as you should, then yes, you will look slightly different. That's very true. Very true. But it is a huge coincidence. The last film you see him in was they clone Tyrone, and here he is looking completely different. That's a huge coincidence here. Quite a coincidence. One thing, coincidence. Two or three things, patterns. Just throwing it out there. So and obviously, when we talked about this with him being perhaps allegedly cloned, we talked about what cause of this, right? So here's the thing: when the sheep starting to rise their heads up, right, and starting to look around and notice their surroundings. Remember those pillars we was talking about? The pastor, the drug dealer, so and the pimp. Oh my God, I just thought about this. Ooh, it just tied in. So speaking of pimps, Ice-T, right? Who's glorified himself as a pimp back in his day, right? He was a pimp. That was his whole image, a pimp, right? Hence his wife, Coco, was obviously. So he's a pimp in real life. Now, to keep the simulation going, you got to get these people to will the herd, will the sheep back into their little cubicles, okay? So Ice-T came out completely. You don't hear nothing from Ice-T. Mind you, Ice-T is not a very vocal person on social media. I just want to throw that out there. He's not. He's not. The only time you hear from Ice-T is if he's like, maybe you see an Instagram reel with him and his Coco stepping out or something like that. Or you might see him on whatever show he is, whatever show he's on, forgot Criminal Minds, whatever show he's playing on. You don't really see him be vocal. He's not really a social media person he's not really heavy on social media. He doesn't have a presence on there. So that's why I want you to understand the weight of what I'm about to say to you. So he goes on to social media and it says, when everybody is starting to realize that the Played clone Tyrone. Shortly after, Jamie Foxx pictures start floating around. People start tying two pieces together. The sheep starting to raise their head up. You get the quote unquote pimp to go herd the sheep back in. Here comes Ice-T saying, hey, he's just sick. The brother is just sick. He been going through a lot. And here's where you know this is where they left the breadcrumb. They kind of let their slip showing, right? And he says, and I quote, he said that for people who believe in conspiracy theories are weirdos. Yes. So he go on to emphasize the conspiracy. So his name, he clearly acknowledged that people are starting to talk about him possibly being cloned by Jamie Foxx possibly being cloned. He realized that. Otherwise, why would you mention conspiracy theories? Why does that tie into anything? So you had to mention that. Y'all clearly are weirdos. People who believe in any conspiracy theory are weirdos. Now, why would you go out the limb to kind of like engulf everybody who believe in conspiracy theories, right?
Right.
Why would you go that far to say conspiracy theories? Why not just say Jamie Foxx being cloned? Why not just stick to the matter at hand, right? Those who believe in Jamie Foxx being a clone are weirdos. That's more, addressing the subject at hand, correct?
Yeah.
You go on to say those who believe in conspiracy theories are weirdos. So, right. People, listen, that's the sheep herding I'm telling you about. They want to keep you in a simulation because when you start waking up, and this film is going to probably get the film director, whoever made this film, in a lot of trouble because he's stirring up a lot of pots. So, God bless and God protect the people who created this film. God bless you all and protect you all.
But the people that, Jamie is a producer.
Yes.
Along with a younger, a younger producer
from Bennettsville, South Carolina.
Yeah. So
I would think, well, then Jamie mysteriously, and you see what I'm saying? Why Jamie is the one that's subject at hand? Well, you just said he's a producer. So hey, dog, you help put this out. So we gonna get at you. Okay. So, but that's what I'm saying. So when you make film, Jamie is also in another film that also ties into a lot of conspiracies, which is Project X. I want to say when the whole blood vow. Blood when you need the blood from the young girl and all that, which is hints to adrenochrome. People look into that, look that up. About adrenochrome is basically adrenaline rush when you scare like a young person when they're scared or frightened, their blood is more potent, which is adrenochrome. And a lot of quote unquote and then allegedly elites drink that substance to have superhuman like energy or healing factors or youthful looks, which is ironically Project X was exactly talking about that. You look younger, you faster, you more, and they literally. So there's two films Jamie's in. So go watch that. Go watch Project X, and then when you watch Project X, like I said before, watch Dr. Sleep. Watch them two films. Watch them two. Yeah. So here's the thing. So the way these things goes is they cannot do the things they do, the evil things they do, without letting you know first. It's just like playing a video game. You ever played a video game and you go and you first put the game on and it kind of reads you the terms and conditions, right? You can't play that game unless you read them terms and conditions. As much as you're ready to play Call of Duty or you're much ready to play Madden, it's basketball. Like, what all I got to read is for fucking basketball. Like, let me get to it. Well, no, you got to read the terms and conditions. You read the terms and conditions, you zoom past it, you don't pay attention because you want to play the game, you try to hurry past it, get through it. All right, I got through it, let's get to it. That's what they do. They literally have to give you the terms and conditions in an open form before they do what they're trying to do. They have to tell you what they're doing. They have to tell you. That's part of the thing. That's what makes it more potent. They have to tell you.
Yeah.
And if you don't pay attention, hey, well, look, I told them. They ain't putting that on them. And they put it in movies. And they put it in movies because it's fucking genius. They put it in movies because you already under the hypnosis to believe this is nonfiction. Or this is, this is not real. So you already stepping into that realm thinking, this is just a movie. It's a great blockbuster. I got my family here, got a popcorn. You already going into it prepared that it's fake. What other better way to tell you what I'm really doing than to present it in a form that where you already will perceive it as fake?
That's true.
So there you go. So when they put it in these films, they put these stuff in these films. You go watch it, you don't think about it, and then when you start going back and you start thinking, like, hold up. But by the time you go back and think about it, the deed is already done. Oh, you already signed that term and condition, dog. You already signed that.
Yep.
So these films are not playing. They're not. A lot of these actors and directors and these people are really trying to tell you things, and we're just so caught up. Oh, I love Jamie Foxx movies. He's such a great actor. Pay attention to what the brother trying to tell your ass.
That's right.
So anyway, that's enough on They Clone Tyrone. But I just told y'all that go back and watch it. It's a lot more to break down in there. But go back and watch that movie, man, because it's a heavy one. It's a very, 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 very heavy one. And it's almost playing in a sense to where idealistically that's how we want it to happen, right? We want it to end like that. We wanted the conspiracy to top be blown off and then blown caught with their hands red-handed, and they all going to jail and everybody's happy ever after. But it's not gonna happen that way. It will not at all happen that way. It will not happen that way. What's gonna happen is somebody else, some other Marines some other billionaires going to be caught up in a submarine somewhere, or caught up, plane lost, and take news coverage, and you like 6 white men are disappeared from this flight, and everybody's kind of like focusing on that. Meanwhile, at the back cave is a whole clone facility that was discovered. Those type of things. So but Soli did have one before we leave. We want to kind of mention that though, that he was mentioning about HARP. Now, I really want to see you hear what your thoughts are about HARP, and what is HARP for those who don't have no idea what that is.
Oh shoot, man. Well, HARP is what they made it for, for the different race, and this is what they're telling people. It's a certain amount of acres, and they're here to they built it to just do different things with like getting different frequencies and all that. But you remember Jesse Ventura,
Yes. Oh yes, I do. The white guy, the ponytail, that looked like Steven Seagal.
Right. yeah. Which he was a wrestler. Then he's a conspiracy theorist, and
he was a ex police officer too.
Right. And he actually went there. It was a TV show a long time ago, and because he had questions about it, because he was like, he thinks that it's they manipulate the weather. Hold on.
No, you go ahead.
He thinks that they manipulate the weather there, and what made me think of it was when I left your house.
Yes, sir.
And I think I passed the racetrack. And it's this building that sits to the right when you probably about maybe an hour away from your house. Or
yeah, what are you talking about? Got like a flag or something on top of it.
I think, but it had this smokestack, and I was looking at it because the smoke came out of the I guess it would be the chimney part of the building, and bruh, it went into the sky and connected with what it looked like was a cloud.
Okay.
And I had a towel with me, so I was like, dang, that's a nice cloud right there. But that's because I couldn't see the building, by the time by the time I got to it, I saw where the smoke was coming from.
Right.
But it looked just like a cloud.
And
it was the smoke and not a cloud.
Right.
So I'm like, what in the world? And this is just, whatever this building is, not even HARP. Someone that got millions of dollars, So that's what I was thinking about. Like, yo, because we've been having some crazy weather lately. You know,
Man, yes,
you
man.
know,
But
so many fires and stuff like that, man.
man, yeah.
Which I go out to the, go out to the families of those terrible fires, like in Canada and stuff. But not
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, it's so much going on, man. I'm like, yo, it got to be, because it's been some crazy weather, not even just in Canada with the crazy weather, but like different parts of the world where they shouldn't even be getting that type of weather that they've been getting, you know?
Yeah. You know something's wrong. You know something's off, which is that break from there.
Yeah, and and people, a lot of people don't really think about global warming,
Mm-hmm.
um, or I guess really believe it
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
if you pay attention to like the polls and and everything, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, if you get out of your head and out of your life for just like a couple seconds, a couple minutes, and
Just
then
open your
just
mind
look
up.
right, and just look at what's going on in the world, you'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, this is not supposed to be happening, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So but I think people just we so caught up on. I think we just, some of us think that we're the most important things in the world, you know,
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
and
Well, yeah. Or too afraid to think outside that box, though. You know.
and could be afraid to think outside the box, but like
Mm-hmm.
you might as well think now while you still got a chance, and
Well, yeah.
you know,
It's hard
so
to though. It's hard to because and to kind of like piggyback off of heart it has been something that now is becoming more and more public knowledge because listen, we're in an age where information cannot they can't hide information like they used to.
right.
So the heart thing is now starting to become more and more of something that people start to realize. But that, remember the terms and conditions. Now, if you notice, anytime something comes out, when they finally say, "Yeah, this is real," it's at the point where they done what's that word? Desensitize you so much to where you don't even care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if y'all notice people, but they literally came out and on news in real time and said aliens are real. We've
Mm-hmm.
been working with them for years in the government. We've been working alongside of them for years. Matter of fact, here's a 200-page thing with different races of aliens that we've been working with. Because
Mm-hmm.
remember, there was a time where Trump was president, he was threatening to out them and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna pull the plug. I'm gonna be a whistleblower." And they
Mm-hmm.
figured, let's go ahead and get in front of this before this crazy dude would get it. So let's go and get in front of this. And when they put it out there, people at first were like, "Oh my god." Everybody on TikTok was going crazy, sharing the
Yep.
article, sharing the video, and then slowly but surely, people start forgetting about it. Nobody thought else about it again. It just went on to the wayside. And the people and the powers that be say, "See, if you desensitize them enough, you can tell them anything. And one moment they'll think about it, the next moment they'll forget about it." That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yes. So with that being said, when your heart start to come out and people start talking about heart, it's like you at that point you desensitize so much to where you it don't hit you as hard. But yes, it is very real, very real. Like not long ago, I don't want to the number. I think there was over 50 tornadoes. I want to say 50 tornadoes in one day across the
Mm-hmm.
country that was going on in one day. 50
Mm-hmm.
in one day. Now, one would get enough news coverage. They got his name, Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane this, tornado, whatever, and they got news coverage for days about it. That one get all the show, right? That
Yep.
one tornado go across the East Coast, the West Coast, whatever, and you get all the news coverage about it. It's just Harvey, 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 Harvey. Well, think about
Mm-hmm.
49 more Harveys. Harvey done brought his family out. It's a family reunion now, and nobody's batting an eye. One though, one had the whole East Coast or the whole West Coast. Oh my God, Hurricane Harvey coming. Get your bread, get your milk, get your stuff. But you got 49 more. Why are we not getting that same reaction?
Yeah.
So that goes to show you that yes, these things are real and they control the weather for multiple reasons, whatever the reasons are to generate different it's all a test, people. It's all a simulation. It's all we all like in a sense are being like lab rats, if you think about it. They all do testing on us. They do testing
Mm-hmm.
on us by by giving us the latest phones. Let's see how they act with this new iPhone. It's the same damn phone. Let's see how they
Same.
react. Dude, I worked in the phone company for a whole year. I worked for a phone company for a whole year, and the new iPhone 14 was no damn different than the iPhone 13. Only two differences. Only two differences. Only two. And people went and traded everything they had, even their firstborn, to get that 14. And that 14 is the same damn phone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all a test. We test people. It's like a test trial. So you put things out there, see how people react to it, and then you kind of calibrate it, put it back out. So
Yeah.
yes, that's very true. Like we all everything is being simulated, people. And I'm telling you, like it's crazy. Like how you can you ever have deja vu, right? And you like,
Mm-hmm.
man, like damn, I just had this I just was staring right here. You had this on, I had this on. It's crazy. But yeah, so yeah, harp is crazy. We're gonna wrap this up. I think my last one I throw out there is the Montauk Project, which is people who don't know about the Montauk Project. That's actually about this show y'all may have heard of called Stranger Things. Stranger Things has been on Netflix for some time now. It's one of my favorite shows. So if you haven't seen Stranger Things, please watch it. But before you watch it, do what I didn't do because I didn't know about Montauk Project. Research the Montauk Project. Look it up, Google it, YouTube it, whatever you need to do. Watch it in depth, and then go watch Stranger Things. So, the Stranger Things is one of those shows I was telling you about these kids who are being abducted back in the 80s, and they what's almost like psychic abilities, and they use those kids to open up different portals, right, to different universes or different dimensions, and they use these kids for telekinesis abilities, and they really tortured them kids, man, and really did projects on those kids. And you had somebody who came out years later who said they on a site they wiped your mind clear, so they wiped your mind clean so you don't know or remember what happened, so you're gonna live in your life not even knowing you as part of this experiment. And then this guy ended up having dreams and about this facility and about the experiments, and he ended up talking about it publicly. And then somebody else who worked on the same site contacted him like, "Yo, I have the same ones,"
Mm-hmm.
and they end up discovering that this all took place. And it's called the Montauk Project, and everything would even with on the show when a girl opened up different dimensions and let in different creatures, all supposedly allegedly that actually took place. And you want to ask yourself, if this is to be true, why on earth would they make a show about this? Right? Why would they make a show about this, man? Like, if this was
Mm-hmm.
actually true, well, as I said before, they put it in your face and they're telling you what they've done. Just like if I was to go to court for stealing Soul Lee's car, and I told Soul, I made a whole rap song. I stole your car, and I got your car riding around in it right now, and you listening to it like, yeah, and I'm making a song like, yeah, I got Soul Lee's car, yeah, and then you don't think nothing of it, but when you see me driving your car and report it, right, and we go to
Mm.
court, I say, look, I told him I stole his car.
Right.
It's his favorite song. I told him. And the judge looked at you. Well, I didn't know you actually did. I mean, I did like the song, but I didn't know he actually did. But well, he kind of told you, sir. So he technically didn't. He kind of told you. So you kind of gave consent, So that's kind of how that goes. And so I want to say this before I go because it dropped in my spirit. Be careful what you entertain, as far as music. Be careful what you entertain, as far as movies, because the enemy will get your consent by you click and play. By clicking
Yeah.
play on that song, you already gave consent to let that spirit into your life. By going to that, see that movie, you already signed that consent by letting that spirit into your life. And then you wonder why things don't go right because you let these entities into your life because you gave consent. Just like how the whole little lore about vampires. Vampire cannot come into your house unless they what, Mr. Soli?
If you invite them in.
Exactly. So you cannot let these demons into your mind or to your soul unless you invite them in. So inviting them in, you may not. I may not. I don't do seances. I'm not a. But when you click play on that song, my booty hole brown, you already let consent. When you watch that movie, that demonic movie, you already hit consent. And then you like, man, why I'm looking at this closet? Look, somebody looking at me, looking back at me in this closet. Well, that's how your mind works when you let different things in your mind that shouldn't be, because your mind is a fragile thing, and you let certain things in your mind that can't separate what's real and what's not real. which is why a lot of these young people emulate these artists that they see and want to be like these artists that see. That's why these people emulate. You ever see people say, I want my idol is this person. I always want to be like this person. I always want to be like this person. No, no, be like Solely. Be the only one and only true. But with that being said, guys, I just want to kind of drop that out there as well. But I just said, just be careful what you let into your soul, consent. Even when people come to you with negative energy, when they come to you with negative energy, it got to be welcome in. You got to say, hey, sorry, I don't want that energy around me. I don't need that energy. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, what? Yeah, well, have a good day. You know, because once you let it in, it is going to ruin your day. Like the whole music thing. Solely, I'm going to say this one thing. I swear to God, I'm going to go. But if you ever ride in your car, you be in a mild mood, right? You okay, you kind of feeling all right, decent day, but you play a song and the song's a little sad, right? It's a little emotional, right? Guess what happened to you? Guess what happened to your mindset? You starting to get emotional, right? That song, that sad song that got you in your feelings. You had a decent day. You had a decent day. Nothing wrong with Shoلی. You had breakfast. Your wife had a great morning, and you get in the car, that saw a sad song coming. Now you're just thinking about all negative thoughts. Oh God. You like, but you were just happy. For real. And y'all don't understand this. For real created an experiment, people, where he made a song called Happy. And it chemically made you happy. When you played that song, you would out of nowhere happy. But then he did something the complete opposite. He made a song the opposite of being happy, which both songs was on this movie called The Minions. When he played the second song was about him being upset, being angry, and then it played with your mental. So it's almost like a frequency that they play with. They come out with these music, they come out with these songs and play with your energies, and they just manipulate your energies, manipulate them. That's why in that movie, when they was fighting in that cubicle, that was playing with the energy. So
Yep. So yeah, man. So I'm still gonna go back and look at that movie again. You know, I had to give myself a little, debriefing time because I watched it at your house and then I watched it when we got back home.
right,
And then watched it later on that night.
right,
And
yes,
then a couple of days later I watched it again. I was like, but every time I watched it, it was something else that I didn't see the first times and
yeah,
the previous times. But
yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah, but music is very powerful. It's very
Yes, it
powerful.
is. Yeah. So, but with that said, I'm not gonna hold y'all, but I appreciate y'all for this episode here, and we're gonna keep this conspiracy theories series going because we're gonna try to get a few more guests in here, to kind of like really jump on this. And before we hit record today, we was talking about some conspiracy theories that we have that didn't make it to the table, but very, very, very interesting. So we're gonna keep this going. If anybody have any conspiracies they want to chime in or throw out there, hit us in our inboxes. I do have an inbox, or matter of fact, just jump on our page, the Kickback Podcast page. You can just kind of drop your conspiracy there. You want us to kind of research that and speak on that? Hey, feel free because we open to all of it. No conspiracy is too big, none is too small. We talk about all of it.
Right.
Also follow our social media sites. My social media site is Chris Lee, KHRISLEE, on Facebook, and also the Kickback Kickback on the podcast on Facebook as well. And I will tag in our link to our Spotify page as well. Please make sure you listen to support on that spectrum. So, Solely, anything you got before we go?
Nah, man. No. We good, man. If you're in the area, yeah. So yeah, I do have something.
Oh, go ahead.
If you're in the area, September 23rd, I know we're going to do another, podcast by the time September 23rd comes around. But just let you know, so far we're doing a show, for UNC Chapel Hill, September 23rd for sickle cell.
Okay.
So if you're in the area, please come by. It'll be a basketball tournament and everything. So, but we will be doing the music. Solely in the super band will be doing the music. So it's a free concert, pretty much.
Well, y'all people heard it, man. Support, man. Sickle cell is a very um, dangerous thing, man. And for those who deal with it, man, my hats off to you, man. I know it's a lot to deal with, and I keep you all in our prayers. And even if y'all, don't know much about it, please just go out there and support because a lot of people out there need that support, man. And support the band as well because this is a huge cause, very important cause that they're supporting. So hats off and much respect to y'all for that. If you just like to go out there and have a good time, just go out there and support them, man. That brother's very talented. His wife, Black Diamond, is very talented in what they do, man. It's quite an honor to be really good friends with this brother here, man. But with that being said, make sure y'all follow our socials to kind of keep up what we're doing, what we're talking about. As I said again, this will be on the Kickback Podcast page as well as our Spotify. So if you don't know how to get to Spotify, just click on the link that I post on our page and it'll take you directly to the Spotify channel. So with that being said, support, make sure y'all drop y'all conspiracies on our timelines. If you want to hit me in my personal inbox, if you know me personally, hey, I'm cool with that too. Just mind the hours, all right? But yeah, so if y'all got any conspiracies you want to talk about, please drop them in there. Hey, you might be a guest, you never know. So with that being said, peace out. Y'all be sharp, be aware.
Peace.
Yeah, your boy Chris Lee. Shout out to Soul Lee. You on that Kickback Podcast. It's our time. You with that Kickback Podcast. Yeah. You on that Kickback Podcast. The Kickback